For the price of one Michelin CrossClimate 3 Sport, you can almost get two Linglong Sport Master 4S. So, you expect the Michelin to absolutely blow it out of the water in the performance, right? Well, in wet braking, they are basically identical. In dry braking, the Linglong actually beats the Michelin. Yes, the tire that costs nearly half the price actually wins a test. So the real question is, are you paying for Michelin performance or are you paying for the Michelin name? Because once we get snow and efficiency, things start to get very interesting. Let's find out. Today, we are comparing the Michelin CrossClimate 3 Sport against the Linglong Sport Master 4S, using results from AutoBuild's 2025 all-season tire test. Let's start with wet braking. Michelin stops in 47.3 meters, Linglong stops in 47.5 meters. This is just 20 centimeters difference, basically nothing. So despite costing dramatically less, the Linglong delivers essentially the same wet braking performance as Michelin. And this immediately makes the price difference very difficult to ignore. Aquaplaning is where Michelin finally starts opening a little bit of gap. Michelin reaches a slipping speed of 73 km per hour, compared with the 70.9 km per hour for Linglong. That puts the Linglong around 3% behind. So, overall in the wet, Michelin is better, but only slightly. And at this stage, if I only show you the wet performance, I think most people would struggle to justify paying almost double. But now comes the test that changes everything. This is where Michelin reminds us why CrossClimate name has a strong reputation. In snow braking, Michelin stops in 24.4 meters, while the Linglong needs 29.9 meters. That's a huge 5.5 meter difference. And suddenly, the Linglong is 18% behind. This is no longer a tiny margin, this is genuinely meaningful performance gap. The same pattern continues under snow acceleration. Michelin delivers 2,946 newtons of traction, while Linglong delivers 2,481 newtons. That puts Linglong around 16% behind. And in snow handling, Michelin averages 53.3 km per hour per lap, while Linglong averages 49.4 km per hour. That's a 7% gap. So this is where Michelin earns a big part of that premium. In wet conditions, the Linglong looks incredibly competitive. But in proper snow conditions, the CrossClimate 3 Sport is clearly in another league. If winter performance matters to you, this difference is very hard to ignore. Now let's look at mileage. Michelin lasts 46,550 kilometers, while Linglong lasts 44,450 kilometers. Only around 2,100 kilometers difference. That puts Linglong around 5% behind. Honestly, that is pretty respectable, considering the price difference. But abrasion is a bit more noticeable. Michelin loses totally 912 grams of material, while Linglong loses 1,041 grams. So, Linglong loses around 129 grams more rubber and sits about 12% behind. So, Michelin won both durability categories, but again, the magnitude is interesting. Linglong does not last half as long despite costing almost half as much. Far from it. And now we get to the results that will probably annoy a few Michelin fans. Michelin in dry braking stopped in 38.8 meters, while Linglong stopped in 38.2 meters. The Linglong actually stops 0.6 meters shorter. That puts it around 2% ahead. So yes, the tire that almost costs half as much actually able to beat Michelin in dry braking. That is a very impressive result. And it is also a good reminder that price alone does not tell you how well a tire performs. Dry handling is essentially a tie, with Michelin having an average speed of 106 km per hour, while Linglong has a 100.9 km per hour speed. So virtually nothing in between them. So in dry performance, Linglong is genuinely excellent, not excellent for a cheap tire, just excellent. For exterior noise, Michelin records 72.7 decibel, while Linglong recorded 73.1 decibel. Only 0.4 decibel difference. Michelin wins, but realistically, this is a very small gap. Rolling resistance is another area where Michelin earns its money. Michelin recorded a coefficient value of 7.39, while Linglong recorded 9.56. That puts Linglong around 23% behind. And this is a big difference. Lower rolling resistance means less energy is needed to keep the car moving. So, Michelin has a significant efficiency advantage for a petrol car that can help fuel economy, for an EV that can help range. And unlike wet braking and dry handling, this is one category where Linglong is not particularly close at all. Now we come back to the reason why the entire comparison is so interesting. In the 225/40 R18 size, the Michelin CrossClimate 3 Sport costs €120, while the Linglong Sport Master 4S costs €67. So one Michelin costs almost twice as much as a Linglong. For a full set, 4 Michelin costs around 480 euros, while 4 Linglong costs 268 euros. That is around a 212 euro difference. And now you need to ask yourself, what exactly are you getting for the extra 212 euros? You're getting much stronger snow performance, better aquaplaning resistance, better rolling resistance, slightly better durability, and slightly lower noise. But what you are not getting is a huge advantage everywhere, because Linglong matches Michelin in wet braking, stays extremely close in wet handling, matches it in dry handling, and actually beats it in dry braking. That makes this much more difficult buying decision than the brand name suggests. So, which tire should I choose? From my perspective as a tire engineer, the Michelin CrossClimate 3 Sport is clearly the better overall tire. Its biggest strength is balance. It performs strongly across almost every category, and most importantly, it has massive advantage in snow performance and rolling resistance. If I regularly drive in proper winter conditions, I would choose the Michelin, no question. But if I live somewhere with relatively mild winters and care mostly about wet and dry performance, the Linglong Sport Master 4S suddenly looks extremely attractive, because you are getting surprisingly close performance for almost half the money. And that is the shocking part of this test. The Linglong does not beat the Michelin overall, but it gets close enough in several important categories that you really start questioning how much the Michelin badge is worth to you.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.